All right. Welcome back to another session of Ironsworn Starforged Vaults of Vaarn with Matala and Ardell as they traverse the mysterious, abandoned, lost city of Welcome To. A large, sprawling, ruined, and apparently abandoned settlement in the sands of Vaarn, of which they are here to find information, to explore, to discover things. One of their drives here is to find parts for the things that are that need to be repaired, and also there's general supply, and a general sense of just exploration and inquisitiveness. And so we start our this session with them getting ready to leave the ruined area of these graffitied apartment complexes that are mostly covered by the dunes of Vaarn. And we're going to continue the exploration of Welcome To with a dice roll on a d4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't usually keep a d4 around to use. Let us pick one. Here we go. That fits. No. There we go. I'll use that one. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they kind of go up here. All right. So so they're gonna go from this place to this hex. Let's see what they discover here, right? All right. So first and foremost, let's roll. So this is going to be number 4. And this is start of their second sort of full day of travel. They spent most of the day doing all of this. So let us see how well they traverse. And like the last sort of session, I think most of their exploration here is going to be staying vigilant, because they want to spot things and basically keep a general eye out. So Ardell is going to lead this one with rolling with wits. All right, so starting off the session quite well, a 6 and a 1 on the challenge die, but a full 6 plus 3, so that's a 9 on the action die. So that is a strong hit. They reach a waypoint, so they reach this area, and we're going to mark progress per the rank of this exploration. And then let's see. So this is the waypoint, and I think the waypoint we're going to describe as ruined. Let's see. Oops. Oh yeah, ruined. I could use these ones. There we go. Ruined. There we go. So let's roll a feature. 71. A memento of lost life. Interesting. So another ruined. memento of lost life. And let's roll in the district as well to see what sort of districts. 26 is going to be engineering area. Okay, so engineering. So some sort of mechanical tech area. Let's see what, 88. Workshops. And 31 for the feature, 31. Disassembled equipment. So, yeah. Workshops with disassembled parts. Okay. So, this feels like a perfect sort of run into. So, they come into this. I assume it's some sort of like tech district or an old manufacturing, facility area of like in some sort of industry section of the sprawling city. And Matala is wide-eyed and looking like, wow, there's lots of stuff here. So I think what she's going to do is she's going to scavenge and she's going to do her sort of thing here. And so she's going to roll wits as well and see what sort of things that she can find to resupply. So she's technically going to do a resupply move here. Ooh, that's a 6 on the challenge die, 6 on the challenge die, and a 6. So for one of her first times scavenging for parts and supply and resupply, it's a strong hit with a match. That is amazing for her. So, strong hit with a match on a resupply, or with resupply on a strong hit. If you are in need of a specific item, you can obtain it and take +1 momentum. If you are take +1, otherwise take +2 supply. So she gets them both up and finds enough supplies for the various repairs and the various things that they need, so that now they're up to full supply. And that opportunity, that rolling with an opportunity, I think I would like to roll on a on the engineering areas opportunity roll, but I also want to roll on the location. I'm going to roll both on the district opportunity and also the location theme opportunity to see what sort of opportunity comes up and which one feels better for our story. All right, so for the engineering, we got 88. I've been rolling a lot of doubles. Helpful plans or schematics, and 86 for the other, for ruined. Shortcut or passage through the destruction. So a shortcut or a path, or helpful plans or schematics. I think the helpful plans they find ooh, you know what? Because this is an engineering workshop and it is an old place. I think they find plans for some sort of, you know, a ground to space ship. So a schematic for a starship. So they find a schematic for a starship. Interesting. So, and I'm gonna say that that is schematic. Small spacecraft. Now, Ardell probably spots this as it is. Now, he has not seen like an actual ship outside of the inside of one from the Royal Signet from the long ago on the earlier sessions. I forget where they are in the playlist, but it's a long time ago. Maybe even almost, within the first 5 or 6 episodes or so, he deals with the Royal Signet spaceship, the crashed spaceship. And I think these schematics feel like that is awesome. And he shows Metalla and kind of like points to the schematic and says, see, they did exist. This is something that I need to find out there that is ready to take off and leave. The schematic is something that is it's confusing. I don't understand most of these words and what it all means, but I know that word, and that says spacecraft up on the top right. See there, that word, that means spacecraft. And I just know that means from above the blue sky. This is amazing find. This is an amazing find. So I think actually for one of the first times, really, Ardell is going to be able to cross off another section or another bit of his background vows. Something is out there. Got to find a way off this rock to the stars. He finds another piece of the puzzle. And that piece of the puzzle is a massive piece of the puzzle. And I'm just going to mark here. Schematics for spacecraft. Cool. Okay. And Ardell takes the schematics, rolls them up safely, and then puts them into his pack, pats his pack, and goes, "This is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. What did you find?" And Metalla kind of brought Ardell along in and kind of I drug him around the area, finding various parts and supplies for the hover bike back at the Welcome To sign, and filled their reserves of these odd vacuum sealed, sort of dried types of food that look like some silvery package with the shape of some piece of food on the inside, completely covered up, and it says "never expires, always good." So they restocked on some food and various other supply needs. So that is awesome find. And Matala basically says, I just really wanted to help find things. So I think now that she has successfully found the supplies for her quest or her vow to help Ardell leave this rock. Now she can start filling out that quest on her own. Now that her sort of hiccup on that quest line is now taken care of. All right. So I think there's got to be more here, and I think for this, because of the schematic and because of the boon of the scavenging of the supplies and stuff, I think they want to explore this waypoint a little bit more. And to do so, I need to just get to the exploration moves, and they're going to explore a waypoint using wits. So Ardell is going to lead this. Yes. Okay, that seems a little bit more like what we've been getting before. I believe that is still going to, that's a 7 total. Oops, that was a 4. That is going to be a weak hit. You uncover something interesting, but is bound up in a peril or reveals an ominous aspect of this place. Envision what you encounter, then take +1 momentum. I think Matala is, even though Ardell was the one that that led the charge, he sort of is going through all of these like workshops and sort of looking over the things that Matala didn't pick up, and he's in this one sort of looks to be some sort of vehicle shop of some sort that made, you know, the frames of large vehicles. And you know, he spots, you know, some engineering tools and a workstation that has parts and schematics for the parts that this station was meant for, and it's full of dust and debris, but he sees a dead, desiccated body, and I think this is gonna be that ominous that like ominous aspect, because up until this point they haven't really seen any signs of life at all outside of the remnants of what the life forms here created. And he sees a dead body, and this is like one of the first times that he's gonna notice that this dead body has the form and the features of him, does not have the telltale lithe features and the slightly elongated fingers of the Fa and the blue skin. This is a desiccated, dry, mummified body of what looks to be a Truekin, an ancestor of his, if you will. And he is put aback. He's kind of put back, but mechanically there's not anything bad that happens here. It is just that this is the interesting thing here, and I think that with the schematic found and the apparently mummified engineer, and this was this the only one? I'm gonna say this is this is story-wise, it'd be interesting if it was the only one, but I'm going to give this a unlikely chance that this was the only one. So if it was 25 or less, it is the only one. 6. I read the darker die first. So 6. This is the only body that they find in this whole area. There is something very odd, kind of scratching in the back of Ardell's mind, and it takes him a bit to point it out, but he notices that the skin is completely clear outside of it being desiccated and dry, but it again, dry mummification is a wonderful sort of preserver of how things were. And there did not seem to be any sort of markings or evidence of nanomachine infestation on this particular individual. And even in death, there is no nanotech infestation. So that is also interesting. So a found mummified engineer in 4. So that it puts a weird, a weird tone, a weird sort of somber tone to the rest of their exploration, throughout. And I think with that, I think Matala says, Ardell, are you all right? Does that look like one of your people? You call yourself True Kin? And Ardell sort of like quizzically looks at her and takes a pause, kind of blankly staring off into nowhere, and says, I don't know. It's very similar features, yes, but look at the skin. It doesn't have the same markings as me. I have little marks of the nanomachines all over me, and even those that I live with. There are stories of generations past where there were nanomachine infestations in people in my vault, the archaeology that I lived in. But this particular individual doesn't seem to have that, and this person is as long dead as we think, many hundreds of years, maybe 1,000, I don't know, like the archaic looking the attire and the way they dress, but there's no markings for the nanomachines at all on this individual. It's interesting. So if it was one of my kin, we have developed an unfortunate relationship with these nanomachines. I thought they were nothing but a boon until recently. I have a tenuous relationship with these nanomachines, I guess. And he sort of, plucks out the interface piece and then puts it back in and kind of taps it and kind of says, all right, let's get out of here. It's kind of creeping me out a little bit. So I guess they're going to continue on. I think mechanically, or rather narratively speaking, I think I'm going to just have them hop over to the Welcome To sign that is not too far away from their current location. And even though it's right next, they've never been here before, so I'm going to have them roll a set of course move, and the set of course move is basically just to you know, a traverse, through a known route through a mysterious site. So that's what we're doing. They are rolling supply, which right now is +5, thankfully. 5 plus 5 is 10, which, yep, 5 plus 5 is 10. So we got 2 and 8 on the challenge, so that is a strong hit. On a strong hit, you reach your destination, and the situation there favors you. +1 momentum. So Matala will take that momentum. So now they're both pretty high up there in their momentum. I think they arrive at the site, and it favors them. So I'm thinking that the hover bike is just where they left it. It's underneath the tent that they had set up. In fact, I will go as far as to say that the welcome to sign has shielded a lot of the wind and stuff, so there's no wind buildup of sand and stuff around the tent, of the rocks and the other sort of things that have collected over the many years around this sign. And the situation favors them. I feel that I think they arrive at the campsite in good spirits, feeling it's like coming back to an anchor point. Seeing the hover bike, Ardell is sort of reminded that this is a vehicle that came from his arcology. It was used by explorers from his arcology in these sands, and he just stares at it and kind of points at it and tells Matala, so that skiff there, that came from my home. It's one of the best vehicles that we have from where I'm from. Fully souped up, and it looks good. But I don't think it's ever was intended to do this much travel. It has seen a lot. And so when we crested the hill and saw this welcome to sign, I almost had a feeling of it saying welcome home. Like, it feels good to have this bike. I kind of want to try to bring it with us, through the city. It seems like there are more open spaces that we've been able to find. We may not be able to traverse as many areas and waypoints as we probably would have liked, but something about seeing that hover bike after not seeing it for a couple of days, it just makes me feel good, makes me feel comfortable. And I think at this point, Ardell is definitely feeling that sense of longing for an anchor point again. And he's been on the run, he's been on the move, he's been kind of in the throes of peril and being in a bad spot from time to time. And ever since Matala, things have been steadily getting better, but have been an upward battle. And this exploration of this this large sprawling ruins has opened his mind to that there was more here. There was more to this planet. There was more to Vaarn. Like, who did these people, who were these people before? And Matala, sits down with him and she takes off her apparatus that helps her breathe, and so that's the one thing I never really kind of made clear, that the Vaarn nomads are a kind of like the Fremen in on the planet of Arrakis in the novel, movies, etc. of Dune. So the sands of Vaarn have a very Arrakis sort of vibe to them in terms of there's the Vaarn nomad who have lived out on the the dunes of Vaarn their entire existence, and have shaped and have changed their color of their skin, their culture, and everything is about being out there and being nomads. The Truekin, of which Ardell is part of, is effectively, they're like humans that have been sequestered in self-contained, hermetically sealed arcologies that hold vast numbers of untouched, untainted by the world of Vaarn, a society of people. So we got somebody who has been basically effectively sheltered his entire generational existence, and somebody who has been generationally shaped by Vaarn. And here they are, both kind of meeting into the middle, where they are uncovering Vaarn's past by carving their way through this settlement of Welcome To. And he looks back at the sign, and I think Ardell is like, Welcome To. That's usually, it's a precursor. There must be the actual name of this place underneath this sand. And he kind of haphazardly goes over, or I wouldn't say haphazardly, that's the wrong word. He kind of nonchalantly goes over to the underneath where the sign is, and just kind of starts to brush away the top layer of the sand, very ineffectually, of course. There's just so much loose, windswept sand up on that hill underneath that sign. And Matala starts to speak, and she mentions her nomad tribes have been nomadic for as far as all the stories have been told about her people. And she can't imagine people living in a place like this, and she points out to this large sprawling city out in front of them, and says, I can't imagine people actually settling down in this place, let alone building so many massive structures. And there's some wonderful things that we have uncovered already. Do you think that's why they left this place? Did something happen? That body was a strange encounter, wasn't it? I'm curious to know more personally. And Ardell goes, I am too. And, he takes out the schematics that they found of the spaceship, and he looks up to the sky, which is still blue in the middle of the day. And they kind of sit down and they start making a loose plan on how they can best move forward with this crazy idea of leaving this planet, knowing that it's going to be many, many, many more trials ahead. And as the camera zooms out from the scene, I think I'm going to have both my characters gain some spirit. because they have been able to talk out their worries. They had a couple of days of successful delving and exploration, and Ardell is, you know, poring over this unfurled sheet of schematics of this spacecraft with Matala, and pointing to various parts and trying his best to explain what they do from his knowledge from the Royal Signet crew that he met earlier on in his adventures. And yeah, so I think I'm going to give them both a spirit for yeah, so they feel a little bit better about their situation and their, you know, joint camaraderie. That's a what do you call, means the same thing. All right. I think with that much time, I think the ooze growth is gonna, even though there was no overt, you know, things to make it go, it's been enough days where the ooze on Ardell's boots and his, you know, pants are starting to spread a little bit. And again, he hasn't really noticed the full extent because he hasn't had a chance to fully, you know, derobe and figure out what, you know, all of that stuff. He's been too much on the exploration train and distracted by other things. So I think now we're gonna have them continue to, you know, fully explore again. And I think this time, I think we're going to have I think they want to move deeper into the city to see if there's more, you know, structures and stuff with other useful bits of information and such. So I think I'm going to have them do another set a course, and they kind of want to get to the research bio sample area again, and then move deeper from there. Ooh, 7 and 5 on the challenge die, and a 4, but is a +3, so that's a 7. So that's a weak hit, I believe. Yep, a weak hit for set a course. You arrive, but face a cost. Face a complication at the destination, or suffer a move. A -2 or -1 for 2 of them. So, interestingly enough, I think what this is I think they're going to face a complication at the destination. And so they're going to come here. And the complication is that this ooze growth fills up. So this whole thing is going to come to a head now as they arrive near the biosample area. And I think, you know, they get off the hover bike, and he you know, he kind of parks the hover bike kind of over part of that muck, that, you know, the moss kind of stuff that's all over the sand, and he just kind of hops off the, you know, the bike. Oh, sorry. Oh, pardon me. It's almost my bedtime. I might have to wrap up this sooner rather than later, actually. So they arrive, and the complication is that the growth comes to a critical mass on his on his lower half of his pants and his boots, and he steps off, and then there's an immediate sort of kind of a gluing effect, if you will, between his boots and the sand, and he thinks he like stepped in mud, but that can't be true. There's no oasis here. There's no, there's not that much water. And he tries to step up, and his boot is stuck, and his feet is stuck. And then he tries to move his other foot, and he's stuck to the sand. And he looks down, and he just sees, like, this is like a first time that he sort of like looked real close, and like there's this slimy movement all around the area around them. And he holds up his hand to tell Matala to halt Matala from hopping off the hover bike. And he goes, "Wait, stay on the bike. I can't move my feet. I think I'm stuck." And I think what he wants to do is he wants to hold on to the bike and have Matala, kind of drive them away, and he's hoping that it's not going to hold on that strongly, and hopefully he'll just lose his boots. So I think that's what he wants to do. He says, "Hey, I'm going to hold on to the back of the cargo section of this bike. Why don't you hop up into the driver's seat? Don't fall off, and don't punch it, but accelerate slowly, and hopefully you can pull me free of this stuff. And now we know what it looks like, and we'll try to steer clear of this stuff. Okay, let's go." All right, so this is going to be a face danger roll. But what I'm going to do is this is going to face danger roll, and I think Matala is going to be doing the roll here with focus and observation. So with expertise, or probably focus. So she's kind of slowly turning on to the acceleration, and the blue stone that's inside whirs to life slowly, and the whole thing rises up a little bit more and winds up, and woo, woo, woo. And she looks back at Ardell and says, "Are you ready?" Okay, so I think this is just she's gonna be the focus of the roll, but we'll see what happens to Ardell. So she's gonna she's not gonna fire the bike's afterburner. She doesn't want to be. I don't want to make her go that fast. So she's gonna face danger using the hover bike with her wits. She can't really add anything here, so she's going to do that with wits. 8 and 8 on the challenge die, and a 1. I believe that is going to be a miss with a complication. I don't think that she wants to fail this badly. So in seeing the last minute, she's going to use her momentum from everything that has happened recently, and says, "We cannot fail now. I don't want anything to happen to him." And I think what happens here is that she's just about to lose him, and the boots start to pull his feet down, and his pants also start to sort of squeeze onto his leg, and he starts to scream out in pain, and she lets up off of the throttle just for a second, and has a thought, and she says, Ardell, don't fight it. Stand absolutely still. And then take this. So she hands him a refill canister that they use for the skiff's battery sort of thing. It is like solar powered, that type of thing, but when there is no sun and they want to use it, it's like a recharge cell, if you will. And she has this wonderful idea to use her. She's sparked with it an idea because that is going to turn into a 9, because she's going to burn her 9 momentum to go from 9 all the way down to 2. And that's going to be a strong hit with an opportunity. And so with that strong hit, she gains a momentum from that. But the actual narrative of it is that she says, strike it on the sand and plant it at your feet. And then put all your weight on the back of the bike so it leans down. And Ardell picks up on what she's thinking. And she is trying to stir stir up the ooze moss stuff and the sand at the same time, and hoping that the wave of energy that is being pushed behind the hover bike into where Ardell's feet are going to stir up enough energy, and it's going to like loosen up the entire area, not just the ooze stuff. And as she puts on the gas, and Ardell leans down heavily and puts all his body weight on top of the hover bike, and the hover bike leans forward and points its nose up to the sky, she punches it. And because when she makes a move while maneuvering her bike and burn momentum to improve your result, roll your action die. So she's going to roll the action die, and on a 5 or a 6, do not reset momentum. So that momentum stays at a 9, and she's going to use for the first time the fully upgraded capabilities of that hover bike and pedal to, well, the sand, so to speak. And Ardell is loosened from the sand and is being hurled away southward to a new destination, and he climbs up on top of the cargo section of the bike, and with wind in his hair and the sand falling off, and he realizes he's got no boots. But he is without that stuff all over him, but he's down boots. I wouldn't say that is down supply. I would just say that narratively now he needs to get some boots. So I'm just going to mark here really quick. 412 on number 2 going south. Ardell is bootless. There we go. Okay. So they are going to now continue to go this way, and this will be number 5. Their new destination. And with Matala on the hover bike, it's only fair to use her wits as they stay vigilant. actually, because of that, I think she's going to go on edge. And she's going to go at speed and just zoom to the next destination as fast as she can. So she is going to roll with edge. So +3, and okay, 3 plus 3 is 6. Oops, that was a 5. So 5 and 7 on the challenge die. So I believe that is a weak hit on the Undertaken Expedition using edge. Progress cost, but they get to mark progress per rank, and but on weak hit they face a peril or they suffer something en route. I think at this point, let's see. I think at this point, the speed of the bike and the speed in which that they're going, trying to navigate the damaged, ruined cityscape that it is, I think the bike takes some damage here. A suffer move of -2. So the skiff could take 2 damage, but I think it's going to be the skiff is going to take a damage. And I think Ardell is going to take a little bit of health, and I think it's going to be more on the fact that even though they were free of that immediate danger, I think he is, as they arrive in this new location, of which we will roll in here in a second, they come to a full stop, they park the bike, and before he looks around, he looks at his bare feet and realizes that there's a really bad skin rash that feels infected. So that's a little bit of a health thing that happened due to all of that. So what we're going to do here is roll now that they've come into a new area. And they are going to, let's roll a location, or the ruined looks. Oops. Ruined. So let's roll to see what 57. 57. Rubble-strewn paths. Interesting. Okay. Rubbled paths. And also, let's roll for the district. Let's see what kind of district that we have. 70. So that is operations area. So some sort of like administrative offices and like an office area, right? So let's see. 48. We got news media and food distribution. Okay, so we got a I'm gonna say this is newsstands and food plazas. So, food plazas with like newsstands everywhere and like rubbled paths. So I think as they find a place to sort of park, they finally, after Ardell, realizes that he's feeling a little worse, for where, Matala is about to, say, hey, I can help with that, which she can. But Ardell, starts to point and sees this massive like I want to say like a flea market style boot um you know a trade market type of a situation where there's huge pavilions, steel pavilions with empty and sometimes half full um, tables and large, just a large area that looks like a rundown, abandoned, very dusty, dune covered, sort of with waves of dunes, through the open pavilion style buildings of a large city market, and with toppled smaller street signs and things everywhere. And Ardell goes, huh, so is this like a large store or something? We had a couple of guilds in my archaeology that would control the manufacturing of goods, and there'd be people that would sell services and trinkets and jewelry and other useful repair items and stuff, and it looked a lot like this, but in a much smaller scale. This looks like it's a market for so many people I can't fathom. And Matala sort of looks at the landscape and says, kind of to herself, kind of reminds me of a traveling nomad camp with all the easily traversable or easily packable tents and yurts, and packable items that can be compacted and easily travel to the next destination. This looks like it was set up quickly and is meant to be broken down quickly. So we have like a situation where this could have been a temporary market. And Ardell nods and goes, oh, hey, about that help. Do you think you can help me out? And she goes, oh, of course. So she taps into her energy, nods her head, puts her hand on puts her hand on his leg, with his torn pants and no shoes. Kind of looks like a wild, Treasure Island drifter type of pant cut. So she is going to attempt to heal. So she's going to give medical care. She adds +1 to this recovery move. So she's going to heal. And she's going to heal, provide care. So she's going to roll wits here. So she adds wits +1, so 3. Oh, 5 plus 3 is 8, thankfully. Her skill, other than yourself, take +1 spirit. Oh, so she's gonna take that +1 momentum since her spirit's at full, as she is healing somebody else, and that always feels good. So on a weak hit, the recovery costs extra time or resources. Sacrifice resources or lose momentum. And I think for her, that's okay to lose a little bit of momentum here. She and Ardell are on the same page where resources are scarce and they need to keep their supplies up. So she does not mind spending a little extra time and losing a little bit of momentum. And with that, I think I'm going to end that here, as Matala is patching up Ardell's feet with a wrap so he at least has some foot wraps, and bandages for his burns. And let's see. And take quickly +2 health. And he is healed up quite well, thankfully, up to +5 now. So they're looking pretty good overall in terms of their various conditions. They park the hover bike underneath a large steel structure with many pockmarked, wind-scarred, and weather-battered roofing, but find a good spot to set up a temporary camp. And Ardell starts a quick sort of fire and sets up the tent. And they will settle into a sort of a routine of their evening as Ardell says, tomorrow morning, let's explore this area. Let's see what kind of news we can find. I see a newsstand. I recognize that shape over there in the distance. That looks like a newsstand. Maybe there'll be some surviving documents of what this place was like from before. I guess all of this sand was here. I don't know. Was this place built on the sand? Did the sand come after? I don't know. But Matala just smiles and nods and says, good night, Ardell. Let's make tomorrow a good one. Good night, Matala. Let's make tomorrow a good one. And I'll leave you with that, folks. And we'll continue on next session with Ardell and Matala exploring the waypoint of the rubble-strewn paths of the food plazas and the newsstands within the city of Welcome To. So until next time, folks, I'll see you on the flip side. Peace.